On August 1st, we're getting a full moon at 9 degrees of Aquarius. Aquarius carries with it the energy of the collective. It's about innovation and thinking outside the box. But this full moon is very different. It's special. I'm Nancy, and this is Rise Higher Astrology. In August of 2023, we're getting a treat with 2 full moons in 1 month. Yes, we're getting a blue moon in the sign of Pisces at the end of the month. But the beginning of August kicks off with a full moon in Aquarius, and this is going to be a super full moon. So it's a little bit closer to the Earth, and it's going to be about 7 times brighter than a typical full moon. But here's why it's going to be extra special, and I want to get this message out to make sure everybody understands this because the meaning of it is so important. This specific lunation is going to be conjunct with the asteroid Chariklo, which is at 11 degrees of Aquarius. Chariklo is the largest known asteroid in our solar system, and some say that it's actually a dwarf planet. It sits between Saturn and Uranus, and it's the only asteroid that has rings, so it's pretty big. So the night that Chariklo was discovered, it was spotted on February 15th, 1997, underneath of the Aquarius sun, and together with 4 other planets and the moon, she created a perfect 6-pointed star pattern in our night sky. Such a remarkable alignment at the time of her discovery indicates a magic to her energy. Chariklo is considered a celestial body of grace, healing, and compassion. Her energy is pure and gentle, and a reminder of the loving kindness that lives within us all. In mythology, Chariklo was the daughter of Apollo, the god of sun and light, and was believed to be a shapeshifter. So she could morph between being a centaur and a water nymph and a human. She was also considered a healing shaman, medicine woman, and worked closely alongside Vesta, the goddess of hearth and fire, and Athena, the goddess of wisdom, protection, love, and strength. Chariklo was also the wife of Chiron, the wounded healer, and this is one of my favorite stories. Chiron was half man and half god. He was a centaur, and his mother abandoned him when he was just a baby because she was repulsed by him. Centaurs were violent and savage, but Chiron grew up to be known for his wisdom and knowledge of medicine. And this was because he had sustained a wound which would never heal. The poison from the arrow that struck him should have killed him, but he was half god, making him immortal. So he was forced to suffer with the pain his entire life, searching for a cure, but never finding one. The medicines that he created were passed on to humans for their healing purposes. So just a couple of weeks ago, on July 17th, Chiron, the asteroid, went retrograde in the sign of Aries. And this signifies the wound of self, and it calls for us to look at our own inner wounds that are in need of healing. Chiron had 2 wounds. He had the incurable physical pain of the poisoned arrow, but he also carried within him an emotional wound that was the rejection and abandonment by his mother. And this would have turned into a degree of self-loathing. So his entire life, Chiron must have felt less than and not good enough until he found his wife Chariklo, who fell in love with him regardless of how he looked, and she loved him for who he was. Her love was unconditional. And so while Chiron is in retrograde at this time of the full moon, conjunct with the energy of Chariklo, look into the mirror. Do you love unconditionally the person you see looking back at you? If no one has ever told you so, hear it now. You are enough. Now, if you'd like to harness the healing energy of Chariklo, you can do it in a couple of ways. If you have a healing crystal, you can charge it under the moonlight. You can do this on the night of the full moon up until the 3rd night of the lunation, and I usually use rose quartz for love and abundance. Clear quartz will amplify it, so you can put these crystals in your home. Another thing you can do is make an herbal healing tea, and you can put some herbs into water in a clear glass container and cover it tightly and steep it in the moonlight where it'll be infused by the energy. So where does this moon show up for you in your chart? If you are an Aquarius rising, this will be in your first house of self. Check to see which planets are in that house and what aspects they are making. If you're a Pisces rising, this is going to take place in your 12th house of spiritual health, the subconscious mind, hospitals, prisons, addictions. You can apply this healing moon energy towards this place in your chart, especially if you have an addiction to something. And it doesn't have to be an addiction to drugs or alcohol. It could be an addiction to a certain feeling, a certain person. If you are an Aries rising, direct some healing into your 11th house of friendships, social circles, and the collective. This would be a really good time to say a prayer for the healing of the world. With Taurus rising, this will be in your 10th house of public image and career. This is a time to release any fears of moving towards your goals and dreams. You can do it. Believe in yourself. Gemini rising calls for healing in the 9th house of philosophy, adventure, travel, and higher education. It's time for you to push beyond your boundaries and discover new latitudes, both in the outer world and the inner world. Cancer rising, your lunation takes place in the 8th house of combined assets, sex, death, and transformation. The full moon may be casting a light on some shadow work that needs to be healed from your past. Leo rising. This lunation falls in your 7th house of marriage, contracts, and relationships. It's also business partnerships. Virgo rising. This is going to take place in your 6th house. This is physical health and wellness, as well as habits and routines, and it's also the house of pets. With Libra rising, this lunation will take place in your 5th house. This is the place of self-expression, of joy, creativity, and it's also the place of romance and affairs. With Scorpio rising, this full moon falls in your 4th house of roots, family, and anything that has to do with your home. With Sagittarius rising, this is going to be located in your 3rd house. This is the house of siblings and relatives, as well as communication. For Capricorn rising, this moon will be in the 2nd house of income, and this is going to shine a light on the area of your life that deals with how you make your money. Okay, so this is what I have for you. Use this powerful healing moon during the season of Leo retrograde. Okay, have a wonderful month, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.